What's the craziest way you've ever seen someone quit their job? We had this warehouse worker who'd been loading delivery trucks for our company for almost 4 full years. Every morning he showed up at exactly 6 a.m. in his steel toe boots and safety vest. Never complained about anything. Never called in sick. Never caused problems. Then we got a new floor supervisor who believed yelling at people made him an effective leader. The supervisor's first move was installing security cameras in every corner of the warehouse. He claimed it was for safety. That was a lie. It was to watch us. He'd sit in his air-conditioned glass office reviewing camera footage for hours and writing people up for the smallest things. Taking a 31-minute lunch instead of exactly 30. Leaning against a wall for 8 seconds. Talking to a coworker while working. He wrote up 12 people in his first month alone. The worker got 3 write-ups in his first week under this new management. First one was for stretching his lower back after lifting a 50-pound box. The supervisor said he was wasting company time. Second was for checking his phone to text his wife he'd be late. Third was for walking too slowly between the loading dock and his truck. Each write-up went in his permanent file. 3 more, and he'd be automatically terminated. The 4th write-up happened on a Thursday morning in late September. The worker was stacking heavy boxes onto a wooden pallet when the supervisor stormed across the floor with his clipboard and a printed screenshot from the camera system. He announced loudly that the worker had been standing still for 43 consecutive seconds yesterday at exactly 9:17 a.m. The worker explained he was reading a shipping label to make sure the box went to the correct pallet. The supervisor didn't care. He slapped the write-up on top of the current box and walked away. The worker just stood there staring at that piece of paper, long enough that the other guys started noticing and stopped what they were doing. The whole building got quiet except for the beeping of forklifts in the back. Then he did something none of us expected. He picked up the write-up, folded it in half. Then he grabbed the 40-pound box he'd been holding and walked it directly over to the supervisor's brand new candy red Ford Mustang parked in the reserved spot by the main entrance. The supervisor spotted him through his office window and came sprinting outside screaming about private property and police and lawsuits. The worker ignored him completely. He placed the box gently on the hood of that shiny Mustang. Then he turned around and walked back to his pallet, got another box, carried it over and placed it on the roof, then another on the trunk. The supervisor was losing his mind. His face turned dark purple. 3 other supervisors came running outside to see the commotion. One of them tried to grab the worker's arm to stop him, but he just kept walking back and forth, box after box after box. He didn't rush, he didn't run, he just methodically built a perfect pyramid on top of that Mustang. 14 boxes total, stacked in a perfect pyramid formation. By the time the last box was placed, the supervisor was on his phone with his face bright red, screaming at someone about vandalism and property damage and arrests. The worker pulled his plastic work badge off his belt, dropped it on the concrete, and said loud enough for every person in that warehouse to hear. "You wrote me up for 43 seconds of standing still. I just cost you 43 minutes of your time fixing your car. We're even." Then he walked across the parking lot to his pickup truck in the employee section and drove away. He didn't clock out on the system, didn't turn in his safety vest, didn't stop by HR for exit paperwork. He just started his engine and left forever. The supervisor spent the next hour and 12 minutes unloading his own car by himself. The boxes weren't extremely heavy, but they were large and awkward, and he had to move slowly to avoid scratching his paint. Every person working in that warehouse suddenly found a reason to walk past the parking lot and watch him struggle. Some people were trying hard not to smile. The very next morning, 3 more warehouse workers quit. No drama, no box pyramids, no confrontations. They just didn't show up for their shifts. The supervisor got transferred to a different facility exactly 2 weeks later. The official reason was morale and management concerns. The worker got hired by our main competitor that same week. They offered him $2 more per hour, plus better health insurance. Their warehouse doesn't have surveillance cameras pointed at the workers. The supervisor's Mustang still has a small dent on the hood where one of those 14 boxes slid sideways while he was unloading it alone. You can see it in the parking lot every morning, right there in the reserved supervisor spot where everyone has to walk past it on their way inside.